This is not a standard third-round match preview. What is unfolding right now at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden demands a different kind of attention, because what is happening around this match is as compelling as anything likely to happen during it. Stadium 1 is sold out. All 16,000 seats. Not for a final. Not for a semi-final. For a round of 32 encounter between world number 4 Coco Gauff and world number 31 Alexandra Eala of the Philippines. The second largest outdoor tennis stadium in the world, filled to capacity for a third-round match at a WTA 1000 event. And the secondary ticket market has been running at prices that reflect genuine, organic, unprecedented demand. Let that settle for a moment. Then let's talk about why and what it means for the match itself. The venue and what it represents. Indian Wells earns the 5th Grand Slam designation through merit rather than marketing. The facility, nestled in the Coachella Valley against the backdrop of the San Jacinto Mountains, represents the pinnacle of professional tennis outside the 4 majors. Stadium 1 typically fills to capacity for finals and high-stakes late-week matches. Early rounds see the lower bowls occupied and the upper tiers sparsely populated by the most devoted fans willing to sit in desert heat before the tournament's narrative has fully formed. Today that pattern has been completely overturned. Tournament organizers, security personnel, and local businesses throughout Palm Springs have all been caught by the scale of what this specific matchup has generated. The Eala effect, which has been building since Miami in March 2025, through the Australian Open crowds in January, through the Dubai sellouts in February, has arrived at its largest stage yet. The two players on one side of the net stands Coco Gauff, the reigning Grand Slam champion, world number 4, one of the most complete players on the WTA Tour, and a fierce competitor who has already achieved at 21 what most professionals spend entire careers pursuing. On home soil in the United States, Gauff is accustomed to having the crowd firmly behind her. She feeds off that energy. She has built her career on the ability to raise her level in exactly the high-pressure moments that define whether good players become great ones. Today she is walking into an atmosphere that will feel categorically different from anything she has experienced on American soil. On the other side stands Alexandra Eala, 20 years old, world number 31, a graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, and the player around whom one of the most extraordinary fan phenomena in contemporary women's tennis has assembled itself. She is not simply playing for ranking points. She is playing for a nation of over 115 million people, and millions more in diaspora communities across every continent, who have organized viewing parties, booked flights to California, and turned her match schedule into the anchor around which significant portions of their social lives rotate. When you put these two players on the same court, you are not simply scheduling a tennis match. You are igniting a collision of two massive, distinct, passionate constituencies. Established American tennis royalty against the most electric emerging force the sport has seen from the Asian region in a generation. The context. Dubai. This match cannot be discussed honestly without confronting what happened in Dubai 3 weeks ago. These two met in the quarterfinals of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, and the outcome was stark. Gauff dismantled Eala 6-0, 6-2 in just over an hour. It was not a close match that went the wrong way at critical moments. It was a systematic, comprehensive demonstration of the gap that can exist between a top 5 Grand Slam champion operating at full capacity and a 20-year-old still developing the physical and tactical tools required to compete at that level consistently. Gauff exploited the faster Dubai surface with precision, rushing Eala's heavy topspin ground strokes before she could load up and generate the pace and spin that makes her dangerous, attacking second serves relentlessly, and using her extraordinary defensive coverage to absorb anything Eala managed to produce and turn it back with interest. Eala never found her timing. She was repeatedly caught hitting off her back foot, returns landing short, and Gauff stepping inside the baseline to finish points with the ruthless efficiency of a player who had identified and was executing a clear game plan. The question today is whether that result was a definitive statement about their relative abilities, or a surface-specific, situation-specific outcome that the conditions at Indian Wells will fundamentally alter. Why Indian Wells changes the equation. The surface at Indian Wells is significantly slower than Dubai. The Plexipave hardcourt here grabs the ball, slows it down, and produces high bounces that compress the time advantage faster courts give to aggressive players. In Dubai, Gauff's pace through the court neutralized Eala's topspin before it could cause problems. In Indian Wells, the ball bouncing high and slow is precisely the environment Eala's game is designed to exploit. Her forehand, heavy, looping, left-handed, becomes substantially more dangerous when the bounce gives her time to load up fully and direct it to exactly the part of the court she has chosen. The high bounce will push Gauff further behind her baseline than she typically prefers to operate, disrupting the court positioning that allowed her to dominate in Dubai. If Eala can generate the spin rates her forehand is capable of on this surface, she can kick the ball above Gauff's strike zone consistently, neutralizing the American's pace and forcing her to construct points from a position of defensive discomfort. But there is a significant tactical wrinkle that Eala's coaching team will have spent considerable time addressing. Gauff's backhand is her best ground stroke, flat, penetrating, and reliable under pressure. Eala's left-handed forehand naturally targets a right-handed opponent's backhand cross-court. In most matchups, that directional advantage is straightforwardly useful. Against Gauff, it feeds directly into her primary weapon. This means Eala must be tactically brave. She has to redirect her forehand down the line, attacking Gauff's forehand, a lower percentage shot over the higher part of the net, hit against the natural grain of her swing. It is an uncomfortable shot under pressure and an absolutely necessary one. If she defaults to the comfortable cross-court pattern, she is allowing Gauff to dictate with her strongest weapon. The match will follow the Dubai template. The tactical breakdown: Gauff arrives at this match with a statistical vulnerability that her opponents have been exploiting throughout the 2026 season. Her serve, formidable when functioning at its best, capable of generating free points and controlling the tempo from the first strike, has been misfiring at a rate that sits near the top of the WTA double fault charts. Over 110 double faults already this season is a significant anomaly for a top 5 player. And in an environment where 16,000 people will react audibly to every one of them, the psychological pressure on her ball toss and mechanics could compound an already existing problem. Every double fault in this match will be greeted by 16,000 people making the kind of noise that stadium fills usually reserve for decisive moments in finals. Gauff has competed in pressure environments her entire career and handled them with considerable composure. But this specific dynamic, playing in her home country against a crowd that is substantially not rooting for her, is genuinely unfamiliar territory. Her coaching team's tactical blueprint for this match is almost certainly built around patience. The slow courts do not reward trying to hit through Eala with pace. The surface will simply slow the ball down and give Eala time to reset. The more sustainable approach is to keep the ball deep, use Gauff's extraordinary defensive coverage and court speed to retrieve everything Eala produces, and wait for the 20-year-old to overextend under the weight of crowd expectation and the pressure of trying to prove Dubai was an aberration. For Eala, the psychological challenge is equally complex and runs in the opposite direction. She is walking onto a sold-out stadium with thousands of her compatriots waving Philippine flags, carrying the full weight of national expectation, and looking across the net at the player who 3 weeks ago produced what was arguably the most comprehensive defeat of her career. The ghost of that 6-0 first set will be waiting at the back of her mind every time she makes an unforced error in the opening games. The first service game of the match will tell us something important. If Eala holds comfortably and establishes her presence early, she can begin building the sustained pressure her game requires. If Gauff breaks immediately and races to an early lead, the memory of Dubai could flood back in ways that are very difficult to reverse in front of 16,000 people. The broader stakes: the winner of this match does not collect a trophy. They advance to the round of 16. But the competitive and psychological consequences of the outcome extend considerably beyond the immediate result. If Gauff wins convincingly again, she sends a message that Dubai was not a surface-specific anomaly but a genuine statement about where she stands relative to the current generation of challengers. Her serve concerns are real, but her ability to manage them against a hostile crowd while dispatching a player the world is watching closely would represent a significant demonstration of competitive resilience. If Eala wins, and particularly if she wins in a way that suggests genuine tactical adaptation from the Dubai defeat rather than simply a fortunate day, the shockwave through the Indian Wells draw would be immediate and substantial. It would confirm that her game is developing at the pace the trajectory suggests, and that the Dubai result was a starting point for learning rather than a definitive ceiling. A victory of that kind in this atmosphere against this opponent would rank among the most significant individual results of the 2026 WTA season, regardless of how the rest of her tournament unfolds. What to watch: the first 3 shots of each rally will largely determine this match. Gauff's return game against Eala's serve, and Eala's return aggression against Gauff's vulnerable second delivery, will set the tone of every service game on both sides. The player who wins the return exchanges more consistently will win more breaks. And on this surface, with these two players, breaks are likely to be decisive. Watch Eala's forehand direction, specifically how often she is willing to go down the line into Gauff's forehand rather than defaulting to the comfortable cross-court pattern. That shot selection, more than any other single variable, will tell you how well she and her coaching team have addressed the tactical blueprint that Dubai exposed. Watch Gauff's serve under pressure. Not in the first few games, when the adrenaline is high and the mechanics are freshest. Watch it at 3-3 in the first set with a break point against her and 16,000 people leaning forward in their seats. And watch the crowd, not simply as atmosphere but as a competitive factor. The way both players respond to the specific emotional temperature of this particular stadium, Eala channeling it into her game, Gauff finding her competitive center within it, will be as telling as any tactical adjustment either of them makes. Stadium 1 is full. The desert evening is arriving. 2 young women who between them represent the sport's present and future are about to begin warming up on the second largest outdoor tennis court in the world, for a third-round match that half the planet has stopped to watch. This is exactly why tennis matters. Drop your predictions in the comments. Set scores match narrative the moment that decides it. And let me know whether you want a live reaction during the match or a full post-match tactical breakdown tomorrow. Enjoy every point. This one is going to be worth remembering. Sonnet 4.